Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain you what is big data. For understanding of big data, first we understand how data is evaluated. There are various factors for evaluation of data. One among it is evaluation of technology. Earlier we had landline phones and now we have handy smartphones which will generate the big data. Apart from this, we were used to store the data on bulky desktop. If you remember, we were using the floppy disk to store the data. Then comes hard disk to store TB of data, and now we use cloud as well. And similarly, if you think nowadays, even self-driving cars have come up. All this is due to enhancement of technology. We are generating lots of data. Let's take an example of your phones. Have you even noticed how much data is generated due to your fancy smartphones? Every action, even one video that is sent through WhatsApp or any other messenger app, that generates lots of data. This is just an example. We do not have any idea how much data you are generating. Because of every action you do, now the deal is this data is not in format that the relational database can handle. And apart from this, the volume of data has also increased exponentially. Now I was talking about self-driving cars. Basically, these cars have sensors that records every minute's detail, like the size of the obstacle, the distance from the obstacle, and many more. And then you can imagine how much data is generated for each kilometer that you drive on that car. Now let's move forward and focus on other factors behind the evolution of data. I think you all have heard about IoT. I Do you know what is IoT? IoT is nothing but it connects physical devices to internet and makes the devices smarter. Nowadays, you have noticed that we have smart ACs, TVs, etc. etc. Right? Everything is becoming smart now. So let's take an example of smart air conditioners. So this device monitors your body temperature and the room temperature. What after that it does, it decides what should be the temperature of room. Now, in order to do this, it has to accumulate data from where your body temperature and surroundings. So basically various sources that you might not even know about, it is exactly fetching that data accordingly if it decides what should be temperature of room. So this is a good example for IoT device. Now we move forward and focus on more factors that participate in evolution of data. The third and most important factor is social media. So nowadays everyone is using Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and lots of other social media websites. These social media websites have so much of data. For example, your personal details. Whenever you open the any website, it asks you for your personal data, and in that way it collects lots of data. Apart from this, your likes on Facebook also generates lots of data. Every minute many people likes the posts on the Facebook. Many people are sharing videos on Facebook. That also generates lots of data. The most challenging part in this, that the data is not present in a structured manner, and at the same time it is huge in size. Social media data is actually one of the biggest factor of the evolution of big data. So due to all these reasons we have discussed so far, not only data increased in volume, but data is generated in various formats. If you think video, then video will be in another format. If you think of image, it will be in the different format. For example, data is generated with videos that is actually unstructured. Same goes for images as well. So there are numerous, or you can say millions of ways in which data is getting generated nowadays. These are just the example. There are many other factors of the evolution of data. So there are a few more examples because of which data is evolving and converting to big data. All of you must have visited the websites like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. If you want to buy a shirt, you won't just directly go and buy shirt. You will search for a lot of shirts. So somewhere search history will be stored. And I know for some that you are not buying this for the first time, that you are buying something, so there will be your purchase history as well. Along with her personal details, there are numerous ways in which she might not even know that you are generating data. And obviously Amazon was not present earlier, so at that time there is no way that such user model data was evolved. Similarly, the data has evolved due to other reasons as well, like banking and finance, media and entertainment, insurance, education, healthcare, government, etc. etc. So now the deal is that exactly is big data. How do we consider a data a big data? So let's move forward and understand what exactly it is. So what is big data? Big data is the term for collection of data sets so large and complex to store in traditional databases that it becomes difficult to process using on-hand database system tools or traditional data processing applications. Our traditional systems are a problem because they are too old-fashioned to process this data or something. No, the real problem is there is too much data to process. When the traditional systems were evolved in the beginning, we never anticipated that we would have to deal with such enormous model of the data. Now the question is, how do we consider some data as big data? How we classify some data as big data? How do we know which kind of data is going to be hard for us to process as well. We have three ways to tell us that. So the first way is the volume of the data. It's tremendously large. So if you look at the start here, you can see the volume of data is rising exponentially. You can see over here the data is rising exponentially. So now we are dealing with just 62 terabytes of data, and by 20s it will reach to 2025 it will reach to 175 zettabytes. So earlier in 2019 we have only 41 zettabytes of data. In 2020 it rises to 50 zettabytes, and now it is 62 zettabytes in 2021, and by 2025 it will reaches to 175 zettabyte. So that's really huge. It is because all this humongous data is coming from multiple sources, and that is the second way, which is nothing but variety. We deal with so many different kinds of files at all once, are MP3 files, videos, JSON, CSV, TSV, and many more. How these are all structured, unstructured, and all together. Now it is also because of the semi-structured, and unstructured data. So semi-structured data is in the tabular form. If you have the old databases, you can say that data is structured data, because you have to first define the structure and then only you can store the data. Next is semi-structured, JSON, XML, CSV, TSV, email, all these formats you can say semi-structured. Structure is defined, but it is not always the same structure you have to use. Unstructured, you can say audio, video, images, log files, all this comes under the unstructured data, and we have so much of unstructured data too nowadays. Then the third factor that identify the big data is the velocity. Data is generated at an alarming rate. So it is because of the speed of accumulation of all this variety of data altogether, which brings us to third V, that is the velocity. Earlier we were using mainframe systems, huge mainframe systems, huge computers, but less data, because mainframes are huge computers, right? But less data because there are less people working with computers at that time. But as computers evolved and we came to the client server model, the time came for the web applications and the internet boom, and as it grew among the masses, the web applications got increased over the internet, and everyone started using all these applications, and not only from the them computers, and also from mobile devices, right? So nowadays everyone uses the mobile device, and from that mobile devices they use various applications, and because of that also we generate the data at very fast rate. When we talk about people generating data over internet, the one kind of application that strikes first is the social media. So how much data you submit alone with your Instagram post and stories. It will be quite a boast, or if I only talk about myself here. So let's talk including every social media user. So for every 60 seconds there are 100,000 tweets. Actually more than 100,000 tweets generated in Twitter every minute. Similarly, there are 695,000 status update on Facebook. We talk about messaging. There are 11 million messages generated every minute, and similarly there are 698,000 Google searches. Number of mobile users is also increasingly every minute. So you can say velocity of data is also high. Data is generated at very high rate. So now I conclude what is big data. So for big data there are various factors affecting. First is the evolution of data. There are four factors for it. First is evolution of technology, IoT, then social media and other factors as well, because governance data also increasing nowadays. The healthcare data is also increasing because of that also, and this data is not the manual data but it is the digital data. So because of this the data is evaluated fast, and it is not possible for the single system or our traditional databases to handle this and process this data. And we can identify the big data using three V's: volume, velocity and variety. So thank you.